Hello everybody and welcome to Stolen Hearts, the next quest we're going to be taking on in this little hardcore Ironman series. Stolen Hearts is the first quest of the Desert storyline, one of a number of overarching quest lines that you will come across throughout your time in Runescape that generally do a pretty good job of starting with kind of pretty basic intro quests like this one and then finishing up with these epic Grandmaster quests that we will be getting our teeth into when we are a slightly higher level than we are right now. The desert quests, starting out here in Draenor Village, but will soon take us to Alcarid and then into the desert south there. Of course, the big prize, couple of quests into this series is access to Menaphos, which is going to be a huge location for us for some mid-level skilling a little bit later on. Anyway, this starts off in Draenor Village. We're going to go and chat to Ozan, one of the adventurers you'll meet again over the early quest lines, and he'll tell us that we need to infiltrate the Skulls, this little gang that is apparently chilling in the cellar here. So we're going to head down and we're going to chat to Khnum, have a little conversation with him. Should mention that this quest is voice acted, one of a number of the more recent ones that has this. I'd very much recommend turning your sound on, particularly for the cutscenes throughout here, so you can enjoy all that lovely voice acting. Anyway, chatting with Khnum, we're going to go through this little test, similar to the conversation we had with the Golem back in Rune Mysteries. He's going to be asking us how we'd react to different scenarios, and this will determine what kind of a thief, or sort of what kind of a role in his gang we might be able to play. Again, you can change your titles over after the quest, so it doesn't matter too much what you pick here, just go through the options. Once you've passed his test, he will tell you that you need to follow him to his headquarters. So head back outside and chat to Ozan, and then you'll go through the next little bit where you follow him around Draenor for a bit. This is pretty straightforward, just watch where he's going and continue tagging along behind, making sure you don't get too close. And eventually, after taking a little bit of a circuitous route through the marketplace, being, very intimidating to everybody in true Skulls member style, you and Ozan will follow him all the way across to the jail on the far side of Draenor Village. Once you've finished this little cutscene and you're standing outside, you can either pause and go off and do some other stuff, or head into the jail and chat to Khnum. And we have the second, of a number of cutscenes that we'll encounter throughout this quest, with Ozan and Khnum chatting about their backstory of Ozan breaking into the palace and Khnum getting exiled for it and starting the Skulls. So feel free to read through this if you are interested in all that backstory, or if you want to, then you can fast forward. After a bit, Princess Leela will show up, of course being disguised at first, have a little chat with Ozan, and once they finish their little bit of banter back and forwards, they eventually get back to interrogating Khnum. Big reveal that Prince Ali has been captured. Of course, this quest replaced what used to be Prince Ali Rescue. But anyway, once we've established this, spend a bit of time chatting to Khnum, just go through the various options here, and eventually via, Ozan teasing him a little bit about food, Khnum will decide that he doesn't really want to be put in prison, and will give you the answers you want, which is that you need to head to the south here and find a little bit of a boat. So I'll make our way down there, have a chat to Lady Keli, triggering another cutscene. She'll, has the prince kidnapped, and after making some threats, she will run away and leave her guards behind to fight you. Or at least the few mercenaries she's got with them, and this is not a difficult fight. You see, we can clear through it pretty quickly here, and once all of those are dead, we will grab the ransom note from one of their corpses. There we go. And have another chat with Ozan and Leela. They'll determine that we need to go down to Alcarid to find out some more answers, and after some discussion we'll agree that you and Ozan will go there together, taking of course Leela's secure password, which you will need for a little bit later on in the quest. Anyway, just teleport to Alcarid Lodestone and run into the palace, where you'll find that the palace guard is not going to let you through the doors, no matter what you say to him, and so you and Ozan will have to find another way round. And Ozan suggests that you go and break into the palace. Next little bit of the quest is a lot of fun. You basically go on a little trip around Alcarid, jumping across some rooftops, and it's a little bit like a mini agility course. I really like this. I would be very much a fan of them adding similar things elsewhere. Having a unique way of getting around the city is pretty cool. The only disadvantage in this bit is that every time you cross an obstacle, you've got to wait for Ozan to do it as well, so it's a bit slower than it maybe needed to be. But still, it's a fun little excursion, kind of up and over the rooftops, getting to see the reworked Alcarid looking very, very fancy. And eventually, once you've made your way all the way around and onto the palace, you guys, before breaking in properly, will be able to listen in at the window and hear the conversation that is going on between the king and his advisors. There we go. Azan's just going to hop over here, shimmy across the rope, and then once you try and climb the brickworks, this cutscene will trigger, and you'll be listening in to Osman. They'll be discussing the ransom. Again, a little bit of backstory, sort of setting up some of the politics between the desert cities, which will become pretty key later on through these quest lines. And yeah, we get the big reveal that the ransom is referring to this spectacular diamond, which we're going to decide would be a great thing to break in and steal. So we run over here, break in through the skylight, and now we get the interesting bit of the quest where we have this pretty cool little puzzle to solve. So to start off, just head over to one of these ornate chests and you'll grab out of it this little scroll giving you a clue as to the puzzle. And this, very nice little one. The idea is that you've got 9 ambassadors, and one of them is a little bit heavier than the others, and you've got to determine which one this is, but you're only allowed to make 2 measurements. And so the way to do this is you start off by placing 6 weights on the scale. Any 6 will do, so just choose the first 6 to keep it nice and straightforward. And you have a couple of options here. Either one side will be heavier than the other, in which case you know that the group of 3 that is on the heavier side contains the heavy ambassador, or the 2 will balance out equally, as is the case here, in which case you know that the third set of 3 weights, which we didn't place on the scales, is the one that contains the heavy one. Once you've then established which set of 3 contains the heavy ambassador, you then need to decide between those. So put 2 weights out of that set on the scales. So in this case, we knew that it was the last 3 that contained them, so we'll just take the first 2 from that set, put 1 on each scale, and repeat the process. And again, you've got 2 options. Either one of them is heavier than the other, as shown here, in which case you've just found the heavy ambassador, and that is the one that is weighing the scales down. Or if, once again, the 2 balance out, then you know it must be the ambassador from that group that you haven't chosen. And then once we've established that, there we go, we're just going to drag the heavy one into our backpack, and we can go and place it over on the display up here, and we'll unlock the diamond. But before we can run away with it, our plans are sadly foiled by the arrival of Osman. Enter a little cutscene here. He'll have a chat with Ozan. You'll discuss the kidnapping, and he will eventually take you to talk to the king and have a conversation about that. Once, of course, you've given Leela's passphrase, so make sure you've remembered that or got that noted down from earlier. And we have this final little cutscene where, whatever you do, the Emir will go ahead and die, and you can have a chat to Osman back in the palace to finish off the quest. Osman says that he's going to come up with a plan to get Prince Ali out, and that he'll be asking of your help later. Spoiler alert. And you get, not the most spectacular set of rewards ever, but again, this is progressing to the later quests in the series, in which we will unlock Menaphos. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you for the next quest in the series.